Okay, let's dive into this. We're talking about an element you see literally every day, maybe as rust on an old fence or maybe in the food on your plate. Iron. But inside your body, well, that's where this common metal becomes the star of a super high-stakes drama of life and death.
I mean, it is everywhere. It's in the Earth's crust, it's in the tools we build, and more importantly, it's woven into the very fabric of life itself. From the tiniest little bacteria all the way up to us, iron is an absolutely essential ingredient for just staying alive.
And this is where things get really, really interesting. Iron is a total paradox. The exact same chemical property that makes it so vital for life also gives it the power to be incredibly destructive to our own cells.
So check this out. This slide really breaks down iron's split personality. On the one hand, it's the heart of hemoglobin, the molecule that grabs oxygen in your lungs and delivers it everywhere else. It's also critical for making ATP, the energy that fuels pretty much everything your cells do. But then, on the other hand, if that same iron atom is left to just wander around freely, it can create these nasty things called free radicals, which are basically molecular wrecking balls that can tear up your DNA and other cell parts. It's a true double-edged sword.
So that's the big question, right? How in the world does your body get all the amazing benefits of iron while making sure it doesn't go on a destructive rampage? To figure that out, we're going to follow the journey of a single iron atom, all the way from your food and into your bloodstream. All right, our story kicks off at what you can think of as the body's main border crossing, the digestive system. And this is the single most important point of control, because as you're about to see, once iron gets in, it is very, very hard to get it back out. We're zooming way in here to a very specific spot, the duodenum. That's the very first part of your small intestine. The cells that line this area, they're called enterocytes. They act like the ultimate bouncers at an exclusive club, deciding exactly which iron atoms get past the velvet rope and which ones don't. And it's not a free-for-all, it is a tightly controlled three-step process. First, an enzyme has to prepare the iron, basically changing its chemical form so our bodies can actually work with it. Then, a special doorman protein called DMT1 imports that usable iron into the cell. And finally, only if the body gives the all clear, the iron is released into the bloodstream through the only exit door we know of, a protein called Ferroportin. So who controls that all-important exit door? Well, meet the master gatekeeper, Hepcidin. Think of it as the boss. It's a hormone that's made in your liver, and it can travel to your intestine and literally just block that Ferroportin door, shutting down iron absorption completely. You're going to want to remember that name, Hepcidin, because it pretty much runs this whole show. So once iron makes it past the border guards and gets into the body, it enters this vast internal iron economy. It's got to be transported safely, stored securely, and put to work, all without causing any chaos. To pull this off, the body has this amazing logistics system. You can think of the protein transferrin as a fleet of armored taxis, safely driving iron through the bloodstream so it can't cause any trouble. And when that iron isn't needed right away, it gets locked up in cellular safe deposit boxes called ferritin. The vast majority of this iron workforce is busy making hemoglobin in your red blood cells, with a little bit kept in reserve in your muscle. And just look at how that iron is spread out. Out of the 4 or 5 grams of iron in your whole body, more than half of it is actively working in your hemoglobin at this very second. Another huge chunk, almost as much, is just sitting in storage as ferritin, waiting to be called into action. It's a whole lot of dangerous metal to keep track of. Okay. Now this might be the single most important idea in this whole explainer, so listen up. Unlike, say, salt, which your kidneys can filter out if you have too much, your body has no active, regulated way to get rid of excess iron. None. It's a one-way street. The entire system was designed for a world where iron was scarce, which means the only real control you have is right at the front door. Now, we do lose a tiny, tiny, uncontrolled amount of iron every day, about 1 to 2 milligrams, just from things like shedding skin cells. It's a really small, passive loss. But now compare that tiny number to this. Your body recycles about 20 milligrams of iron every single day from old, worn-out red blood cells. This shows you that the internal recycling program is vastly more important for meeting your daily needs than whatever you're eating. Our bodies are absolute experts at hoarding iron. It's an evolutionary superpower that was designed to help us survive when this metal was hard to find. So if recycling is king and we can't really get rid of any extra, how does the body know when it's okay to absorb more iron from our food? Well, let's circle back to our master regulator, Hepcidin, and see exactly how it runs this whole operation.
It all starts with a simple inventory check. When your ferritin levels are full and there's plenty of iron already cruising through your blood,
Your liver, which is like the central command center for this whole system, gets the signal. And in response, it starts producing and releasing that key hormone, hepcidin, into your bloodstream.
that hepcidin then travels all the way to those gatekeeper cells in your intestine. And what does it do when it gets there? It finds those ferroportin exit doors we talked about, and it shuts them down. It literally locks the door. And the result is simple, but it's brilliant. No more iron can get into your bloodstream from your diet. The front door is officially closed. This amazing negative feedback loop is the body's main defense against getting overloaded with iron, and it makes sure you only absorb what you actually need.
Now, this system is incredibly effective, but it isn't foolproof. So what happens when this delicate balance gets broken, whether it's because of genetics, or a disease, or even just our diet?
Well, you can end up with one of two major problems. Over on the left, you have iron deficiency, which you probably know as anemia. This can happen if you're not getting enough in your diet, from blood loss, or even from chronic inflammation that tricks your body into making too much hepcidin. The result is you feel tired and weak because you just can't make enough hemoglobin. Then, on the right, you have the exact opposite problem, iron overload, like in a genetic disease called hemochromatosis. Here, the system is broken, the body absorbs way too much iron, and that toxic excess starts building up in your organs, causing serious damage.
And this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just some obscure little piece of biology. Properly managing the iron in your body is absolutely fundamentally critical to your overall health. Getting this balance wrong is at the very root of so many different diseases. So we'll end on this final thought to chew on. For pretty much all of human history, iron was tough to come by. So our bodies evolved these incredibly efficient systems to grab onto and hoard every last atom we could find. But now, for many of us, iron is everywhere, in fortified foods, in supplements. So is it possible that this ancient survival trait, this relentless drive to hold on to iron, could actually be a vulnerability in our modern world? It's definitely something to think about.